Welcome to a scroll through, I'll call it, of the second printing English rules for League of Dungeoneers. As you know, if you've been following the channel, we've been playing a lot of League of Dungeoneers, and we have been anxiously awaiting the second printing and the expansion that's coming. So one of the things that has been sent out ahead of fulfillment, or I guess as part of fulfillment, is the second edition rulebook. And there's a lot going on here, a lot of new artwork, some rules tweaks and stuff. So I thought we would just take some time, since the game has done well for the channel and a lot of people have engaged with it. I'm assuming some people are waiting for either their first copy or an updated copy. And so it might be interesting for you to see me kind of just look through all the new stuff that we have here. And there's 286 pages, as you see here. Don't know if we'll spend all that time going through all of it, but we'll look through some of it until we get bored, which I don't think will happen. We love this game. So first off, you'll see some credits here, which is great. Nice to give credit where credit is due. There's a brand new cover, which we don't actually see here in the PDF at this point, but it looks great. It's some original artwork. There was kind of royalty-free artwork used in the first pressing, and other games have used the image, which is really interesting. So Michael Lundstedt, the designer of this game, has had a lot of original artwork commissioned for the second printing, including the cover, which is cool. Here's some high-tier backers. I'm not on here. I just backed the level you needed to get the expansion and added some of the updated cards and stuff to my pledge. And I believe everything's printed and being put together as we speak, so we should see it in a month or so. Very excited. I'll do an unboxing and kind of poke through all the new stuff that I got. Again, since League of Dungeoneers has been so popular on the channel, we're getting very close to 1,000 subs, which is really neat. I didn't really ever expect that. I just do this for fun, and here we are having a lot of people having fun with us, so it's really cool. Here's a special thank you to all these people that worked hard on the game with Michael. This is one of the new pieces of artwork. And we get a little bit of lore for the kingdom. It has a name now. I think it was just called the Kingdom in the first edition. But you can read that if you'd like to. Go ahead and pause. I won't do that now. Contents. I think some of this has been updated as the book has changed in some ways. The contents will also change. What else do we have? Yeah, the index of art, that was in the last edition, although these have probably changed since a lot of the art has changed. Here's our introduction. We saw that guy before. Components. These look similar, although the rule cards have changed a little bit because they've got new artwork. I love the black and white artwork that some of the cards are going to have. I think this page is new. This looks different. Small tokens, this looks different too. This is an added thing for second edition, as well as the settlement cards, I believe. Abbreviations and terminology. This is all new. I'm sorry, this is familiar here. And then we start getting into the rules, the game basics. Right. This is a new diagram here. I remember it being a little different. Just trying to clarify line of sight a little bit, which is clarification is appreciated in a game this complex. So for example, here's some more new artwork. Looks like a similar artist to the other piece. And we get to the party management section. A lot of little details like this. Skills require a test to use. Perks require energy to use. Talents are passive boosts. All that stuff is very welcome. This looks pretty familiar, except for this art. Again, new art here. Looks new and old at the same time. I kind of love that. It's just like a halfling Dolly Parton. That's cool. More new art in the Alchemist section. Barbarian section has new art. Yeah, these were just minis, I think. I think they were pictures of North Star minis before. So some more original art for each class. That's neat. I love our party, but seeing these classes makes me want to try other things. And maybe we will when we get the expansion. Maybe we'll make a new party. I love how tall this wizard's hat is. Backgrounds, I believe, remain unchanged. 20 of them, one for each possible roll on a d20. All right. Gear, psychology. I love this piece. This is really interesting. This is clearly inspired by the Scream. Embarking on our first quest. Look how happy this party is. Talents and perks. This looks the same. Some magic rules. I feel like I have a decent take on what's new and what isn't just because I flip through this book so often. Okay, here's one of the new things. I do remember seeing this and getting excited about some better flow charts for how to act and operate. So here's a hero spellcasting flow chart. At the beginning, you're going to determine what your miscast threshold is. It can change based on what you have. It's 95 or -5 if you're injured, -5 per AP, and -1 point of increased power. So I believe this is something that's changing injured. This, instead of being wounded, because of the idea of wounds and being wounded, I believe injured is going to be a new term that we use for that, being at half health. But I'll see if we can't find that. So as you can see, it's pretty clear how to go, and it's complicated still because it's a complicated game. But we do see pretty easy arrows to follow. You determine your spell type, an incantation, a ranged spell, or a touch spell. You're just going to make a skill check of arcane arts, applying any modifiers. If it's successful, then you go and make the combat skill +20. This kind of thing is helpful because we had all this information, but it didn't quite tell us order of operations before, which I appreciate. So you always make sure the spell goes off, and then if you can go touch the person, you do arcane arts if it's an incantation. You see if you need line of sight. Some ranged spells need it, some don't. For instance, Monty's Flare, that in our party we don't have to have line of sight. We can just shoot it, and it finds its target. If it's blocked, you can't cast it, so do something else. It's nice that you don't miss that action. You just get to go do something else. If you have line of sight, if you're clear, you get to focus or not, or you get to see if you focused. You get to add the +10. Then you would take away the casting value, which is interesting here because this would need to happen here as well, subtracting the casting value up here on a touch spell, if I'm not mistaken, but I don't see that. So again, some clarification, but clarification breeds questions sometimes. But yeah, appreciate the effort put into here nonetheless. And this picture is awesome. I love this picture of this spellcaster. All right, so some familiar information on enchantments and magical items. Got some pictures of the actual standees, which is great. Alchemy, new art there. This is new too. This is a new way to look for ingredients in alchemical spells. So some clarification on how to roll based on where you are, which is really interesting. We don't have an alchemist, so we haven't played around that much. We have harvested parts and then realized that we didn't have an alchemy set, so we couldn't. So an alchemist may be something we play around with in the future. And yeah, here we go. More tables based on what monsters can yield if you roll a successful alchemy. So you see some notes on quality of potions, making recipes, simplified alchemy here. So again, Michael's thought of a lot of things to simplify the game if you'd like to just play more streamlined. If you feel that Alchemy rules require too much bookkeeping, you can instead use simplified rules and ignore the use of exquisite components, that kind of thing. Very cool. So again, here's a new flowchart for making a potion. To start, you'll need a bottle. You're trying to decide the potion quality, and then you move on from there. Here's some common recipes. I believe that's new. This page looks familiar though, all the bottle art. And I believe this is new too. Might not be. As I said, we haven't used an alchemist, so I haven't spent a ton of time in these sections here. Prayers for a warrior priest, another cool class that I'd like to play with someday. Okay, so here's our information on exploring the dungeon, getting into it, how to generate the turn. And here we go, another cool flowchart. Just a simplified start a turn sequence. Trying to be really clear and let you know how to play. You roll the d10 to start, or 9 to 10, you roll threat. If it's greater than the threat, or if it's equal to or less than the threat, you roll on the threat table. Some more lore. Here's our threat tables. We've seen these. Information on wandering monsters, those nasty things. Movement and facing. There's some clarity here, some more charts to help you decide what you can and can't do. Information on obstacles. Picking things up, rearranging gear, all the actions you can take. Here's another new chart for opening a door or chest. A d6 and a d10 is rolled. You raise threat by 1. Info on a portcullis, levers, encounters, activation, treasure, and then combat, who can fight, zone of control, all the stuff we're pretty familiar with. This is a new diagram here. This is new as well. Talks about obstacles in line of sight. Okay, and then another new chart that displays what we can do on a combat turn. You're going to pull a token. If it's a hero or enemy, you choose which one to use. Use the reference card when picking enemies. Choose a character to act with. All the good stuff that we've done many times at this point, but a little bit clearer. And appreciate the art behind it. A little more fancy now. And again, another chart for attacking. How to throw potions, acting with enemies. Now enemy attack as well. Examples. And traveling stuff, that looks familiar. Obstacles out on the outdoor maps. I believe this has been updated because it says -10. It said +10 in the original book that I got. I was like, oh, it's better to shoot through stuff. No, just misprinted. Activities, settlement events. All the fine places we can visit. Silver City map, arena fighting, more new art. Let's scroll a little faster here. I believe this is new here in the Fighters Guild. You actually have a chart there in the section. Dark Guild, Rangers Guild. That's a cool piece of art there. Inner Sanctum. Yeah, so there you go. Just a little scroll through. I think we'll get to the quest section here. I'm not sure how much of that has changed. Here's some side quests. And then appendices. Yeah, I don't know how much is new in here, so we just end there. Just a quick scroll through the second edition English rulebook for League of Dungeoneers, the printing that's coming soon. I actually do have a couple more playthroughs that are rendering right now, so we'll see more on the channel very soon, and I'll probably do some coverage when I get the second edition. Show you what there is to see in that if you're interested in finding it, backing it again whenever it might come back to crowdfunding, or finding a copy secondhand, whatever it is. But yeah, thanks so much for watching. If you have any questions, let me know, and we'll see you next time on Save Your Game.